This is a topic that's really been of a great deal of interest to me personally and professionally for a long time. When I started my career, I was working in a business school teaching human resources, and this was an important topic in the classes, but there was almost no research on it, and a lot of the students would talk to me about their experiences, and I was always shocked by how many young women would come talk to me about sexual harassment. And that was a topic I took up and studied for about 15 years, looking at perceptions of harassment, reactions to harassment, how the federal courts decided harassment cases, and training and its efficacy or lack thereof. And there wasn't very much good training at that time, and we still have a ways to go in that area. So it's really been of interest to me, and it's also been one personally, having two daughters and watched them grow up. And I think things got better from the time I started to the time they went through school, but as you can see from these statistics, we are a long ways from being where we need to be. So I want to thank all of you for being here today, and thank the university for taking this on in a very, very serious way. Last year, when the Violence Against Women Act was passed, we needed to take steps to really move forward in this regard. So I formed a presidential commission on the VAWA report and asked Leslie Rigg, then the Vice President for Research, and Eric Weldy, Vice President for Student Affairs and Enrollment Management, to co-chair that committee. How many people here served on that committee? Thank you for doing that. That was a ton of work, as you can report to everybody here. In fact, it was so much work that we really felt like we needed to prioritize those items and bring them down to an operational level and say, how do we implement this now? And so we had an implementation team formed. Kristen Meyer chaired that and did an amazing job. Thank you, Kristen, for doing that. How many people served on that committee? Some of the same faces. It was a dedicated group. You did amazing work, so thank you, thank you, thank you. And I'll talk a little bit about what they all did. Now, they're building on a base where we do have some good things in place, but not as much as we need. So we do have a strong reporting program for reporting responses to sexual assault that include confidential advocacy, referral, and support at NIU for students impacted by sexual assault, dating violence, domestic violence, and stalking. We have bystander intervention education and interpersonal violence prevention. Those presentations are through health enhancement and victim advocacy services. All incoming students are strongly encouraged to participate in Haven, the new online educational module. It reminded me of a story that Alan Rosenbaum told me. So he's on a bus coming back with all these people, and it turns out there was a mom who was abusing her child on the bus in front of all these experts, and guess how many people on the bus intervened? Nobody. And so they got off the bus and then had this kind of moment like, why didn't we do anything? And I think there's those strong social norms. It's their situation, it's their kid, their family, their relationship. And there's that strong bond that we learned somewhere along the line not to break that. And that may be a bond we need to learn to break and figure out how to do it. It's a skilled intervention in a potentially very emotional situation. So we've got to figure those things out through better training. One of the outcomes of the implementation committee that Kristen chaired was a definition. And we thought a definition of consent's really a critical first step. And so thank you for bringing it on. Let me read it to you. Have you seen it, heard it? Some of you, not all of you. Here's the definition. Consent is clear, unambiguous, informed, and voluntary agreement between all participants to knowingly engage in sexual activity. Consent must be mutually understandable by words or actions, i.e., a reasonable person would consider the words or actions to indicate mutual agreement to engage in the sexual activity. Consent is active and cannot be based on the absence of an affirmative statement or act of denial. Silence or lack of resistance does not constitute consent. And it goes on from there, but that's the opening stanza, and a pretty good opening stanza. So, does a stanza like that trump culture? We got a lot of work to do. We have a lot of education to do. And to that end, the implementation team worked up an excellent set of implementation steps, and I thought I would touch bases on you with some of those to show you the actions that we're taking. So, adopt an affirmative consent standard was the first thing on their list. Yes, we've done that, and we've publicized it. But there are training implications that go along with that, and it's going to be period of time as we walk through this and shift our culture and perceptions about appropriate behavior. Second, ensure 24-hour advocacy services. And so we have those in place, and Lisa Freeman is working with Karen on Title IX issues. Eric is working with Safe Passages and Mary Ellen and others, so we're putting those pieces in place. Third, design an NIU-specific campus climate survey. So I'd like Bernice Edgehill-Walden, our new our Chief Diversity Officer and Executive Associate Vice President, to work with you on that so we can get that all over. Ensure that NIU adheres to recommendations in the April 2015 Dear Colleague letter regarding Title IX implementation. So I know Karen is working on that. Enable, if not require, data sharing across data collecting units. So we're going to use the flow chart for victims as a guide on who is going to steward the data across those, so we have the specific areas identified. Enforce student compliance with mandated training, for example, alcohol, EDU, and Haven training modules. We have subscribed to those and are working to get students to take them. Clarify who has authority to ban people from campus and enforce those procedures. And we've done that relative to the police and relative to student affairs. So under which conditions do they go to which place and who makes the decision and how is that executed? So, got it. Create an exhaustive description of resources for students and make it widely available, and create a multimedia messaging anti-violence vow campaign. So Eric and then Harlan Teller, our Vice President for Marketing Communications, are working on that. Let's see, begin to infuse anti-violence messaging into the classrooms, curriculum, through University 101, and the creation of a new interpersonal violence certificate of study, and Lisa's working through her academic affairs colleagues and Brad Bond, Vernice on that. Designate a unit to develop VAWA training material for faculty and staff, and I think Karen, through her Title IX work, is taking that on. So those are some of the, we're working where there's movement. So I wanted to let you know all of your work on these two presidential commissions is coming to fruition, and it's making a difference. But it's, I asked Kristen when we're sitting here looking at those statistics, in her experience, how much has changed over the last 20 years? Have those percentage, well, seat of the pants, we're probably both guessing not a lot. So we're against a current, and we're going to have to take it on as a community and really shift that. And it's an important lift to make, and we're going to do that. So culture almost always trumps policy. And so we have to shift culture, and there are a variety of ways to do it. Culture is how we treat each other, and it's the expectations we have for each other, and it's how those are reinforced over time. And so we can set different cultural expectations for each other and reinforce each other and do training and do education, and over time move that dial. And I'll give you one example from my former institution, the University of Idaho. About 54 years ago, there was a lawsuit for discrimination against the university, and the university lost the lawsuit. And part of the resolution was the establishment of a women's center. So on the 50th anniversary of that women's center, we held a great celebration. It had become a very strong women's center, had a dramatic and positive impact on the community, and had helped shift culture. And we invited in a keynote speaker, and that turned out to be Gloria Steinem, which was a big day for us. And she spoke to about 9,000 people that evening, which might not have happened 50 years before. And the response wouldn't have probably been as positive as it was. She was a rock star. She did a great job. And so we had a luncheon for her that day that I was able to attend. In fact, got to sit next to her. And I thought about the impact that she'd made. And by the way, sidebar, a number of students who were at the table as Gloria was sitting down and everybody was fawning over her, came to me and said, "Who's Gloria Steinem?" And I explained to her, you know, she's one of the founders, the pioneers in the women's movement, and you're here at this university probably because of her. And they said, "Wow, you know, my mom wasn't born when she was doing that." I went, "Oh God, I'm getting old." But it's probably true. We forget, you know, that arc of history. Even just in my old lifetime, a lot has happened since those days. Well, I thought about her, and so I took a tie for her. I didn't actually wear the tie. I took a tie so she could sign it. And this is the tie. And this scribbling on it is her signature. And the reason I took this tie is it's an M.C. Escher tie. Do you know M.C. Escher, the artist? So he'll start with a particular drawing and then transition it to another one. And in this one, it's a fish that leads to a sailboat. But I thought about what she'd done. She did an Escher painting with society. She'd taken a very different environment. Women had different rights and different cultural expectations when she was working in the early part of the women's movement. And to the day we're having lunch with her and celebrating her, and I'm about to go off to a talk with 9,000 people who really were into what she was saying. Well, I hope we don't have to wait 54 years for that to happen here. And I don't think we're going to. We're building on the foundation of the women's movement. We're building on the VAWA report, and we're building on the work of the two commissions and the specific to-dos on what to get done. And we're continuing that momentum today, and I'm very thankful to Laura for her work on all this and moving it through with the President's Commission. And I want us all to keep pointed the right direction and moving it forward. So thank you for being here, and enlist your supporters and your colleagues to join this movement and move us forward. So thank you for being here.